An important part about making your living in advertising is being able to estimate how effective an ad will be before you've spent the money to run the ad. Let's see how they did with this one. In this ad from Benchmade, there really is a lot to love here. Really a nicely done piece. We have a great polished product image cut out real nice and clean. Lots of nice contrast on top of the dark background. We have some subtle topographic map textures there to try to keep it from being quite as plain and stark. And then we have some really great hierarchy. We're greeted first off with the Benchmade logo, coming down into some headline, a little bit of body copy, their Life Sharp guarantee, and then finally the QR code and URL. Really flows very cleanly, very clear hierarchy. You know what's most important, what's least important here. I do feel like the Benchmade logo, if I look really close and compare it to the text, is maybe just a little bit off center. It seems like it's shifted a little too far to the right. Might only be an eighth of an inch or a 16th of an inch, but if I try to line it up, it doesn't feel quite centered on the butterfly shape. Could be an optical thing, but I think it is mathematical that, if you look here and here, it just feels a little bit too far that way. I also don't really love centered typography. I feel that it's generally more acceptable in a formal setting, a wedding invitation, awards banquet, something along those lines. A print ad for hunting cutlery. Yeah, maybe not the most appropriate use for centered type in my opinion, but I can kind of overlook that given how well everything else was done. The only other thing that kind of grinds my gears a little bit is the size of the product name here. It has so much contrast against the black, and it's so large that to me these two items really are competing for the top of the hierarchy. And so that kind of begs the question in my mind of, well, what was more important here? Probably the product to draw you in. And if having the name was a critical element, shouldn't the name sort of taken precedent over a headline, field ready, kitchen worthy? I mean, that could have just said Meatcrafter in there and been more or less the same thing. I also think another alternative could have been to take the name of the product here and kind of shrink it down. That orange really stands out. That could have been maybe 2 or 3 inches tall down near the base of the handle, and that still would have gotten noticed. It just would have been lower in the hierarchy. So I'm not really sure why they scaled it up to that size with that much contrast, kind of fighting with the product image itself. I think that's something that they could have designed around, worked around, and made the ad even better. But overall, I do think this accomplishes their goal and will be a successful ad for them.